How have I never thought of this before? So, as some of you may know, I have this Google Sheets page online where I track all of my hours for language learning. On the left here, I have the days, and then I have the languages as the columns, and I track the number of hours, even the specific hours of speaking, writing, reading, listening for each language. And this is kind of a way to keep myself accountable. It's a way of having you guys keep me accountable, because it would feel really bad if I knew that other people could see that I was slacking off. And I have slacked off. In fact, if you look in the past, I've had a lot of problems with procrastination and finding the time and motivation for this hobby that takes up so much time. But you make time for the things that are important to you. After all, I still do 30 minutes of Anki every single day. And in fact, you can see my Anki streak. I put it up here just for fun. But anyway, you make time for the things that are important for you. And I figured out this new strategy for staying productive for language learning, which is just to make a schedule for the things that I'm going to do in the future. So as you can see here, today is the 31st, and I've put in what I will do in the future. So in the past, it would just be me writing down the things that I did for that day, but I wouldn't really have a plan for the next day. It would be easy for me to skip a day and to break this streak. But what I've done is I have a future schedule of what I do in the future, of course. And this is how it works. So for example, I'm reading this book, and I have the percentages of the percentage of that book that I will complete for every day in the future. And the reason why I put percentages is because on my Kindle where I read, I don't think there's a way for it to show you the page numbers. It only shows you the percentage that you completed. For Mandarin, I complete one episode of a show every single day. And for Korean, I complete there's a mosquito in my room. There's one, I don't complete one lesson a day. I just complete a third of a lesson every single day, because one is a little bit hard to complete, or a little bit too much for every single day. And the reason why I think I like this strategy more than what I was doing before is because if I ever miss a day, if I ever mess up, like you can see, like right here, I messed up. I didn't complete all of this episode of a TV show in one day. Then I have to change every single episode. I have to change all of the subsequent entries or the subsequent rows, which is very tedious. So this is a way of keeping myself accountable, not just through you guys being able to look at it and I guess shame me for slacking off, but it's a way of keeping myself accountable, because I just don't want to do the effort of changing all the subsequent rows. So yeah, this is going to be an update video, I guess, on everything that I'm currently doing. I guess analyzing each of these columns and what I'm doing for each of my languages. Okay, so for Spanish, I'm reading this book called The Happiness Project, and I found this book when I was reading quotes on it on Goodreads. I talked about this in a couple of videos ago, where one of my new hobbies is looking at on Goodreads.com. Goodreads.com is a book review website, but it has people can submit quotes, like famous quotes for that book, and I love going through those and making Anki cards, close cards out of them. And this is it's completely free to look at these quotes. So on top of just learning and reading, it's a great way of scouting, I guess you could say, new interesting books that I enjoy. Books that I never even would have thought to look at, or books that have never been recommended. So this is one of the books that I found a lot of good quotes from here. It's called The Happiness Project. And let's see, I think I've said a couple minutes ago, I'm reading the book on my Kindle. I bought this a couple of years ago. It was used. And yeah, the way it shows your progress is by showing the percentages. I don't think there's a way for it to show the page numbers, but I actually prefer it this way because it's easier to see the percentage, or it's easier to feel like you're making more progress when you see the percentage as opposed to the page number. So in terms of my comprehension of this book, I would say there's only one or two new words every single page, and even then, it's pretty easy to figure out what the new word is. It doesn't impede my learning at all. I'm kind of at the point now where I'm just consuming content that happens to be in Spanish, but I guess there's no barrier to entry, or there's no impediment in terms of my comprehension. There's only one to two new words per page. Let's see. Oh, yes. And I'm also using this new strategy that I came up with a couple months ago, where I don't look up any new words while I'm reading. So I start reading, I do my reading, but I don't look up any new words until after I'm done. And then even after I'm done, sometimes I don't even look up any new words. I just only look up the new words that stand out to me. So that's my new strategy, and I think it's helpful. I think it's very helpful in terms of me just enjoying the book, and not necessarily focusing on the individual new words of the language, but just enjoying the book as a whole. It doesn't disrupt that process. Okay, so the next thing is for Mandarin. I've been watching this TV show in Mandarin it's called 30而已, but in English it's called Nothing But 30. It's kind of a deceptive title if you only look at the English. But anyway, I've been very inconsistent in terms of watching this show in the past. As you can see, like on the 21st, on May 14th, I watched episode 27, and then like a week later, I watched episode 28. And you can see, like, even back here, I've just been very inconsistent. When you don't follow a strict schedule, it's easy to skip days. But now with this new strategy, I'm watching one episode a day, which isn't that bad. They're 45 minutes long, but at least it's enjoyable. And by the way, this show is the best mainland Chinese show that I've ever watched. The previous ones that I've watched were, let's see, there was Well Dominated Love, there was My Little Temper, or Your Little Temper, and then there was The Interpreters, which I never ended up finishing The Interpreters. Because, well, I might do like a tier list of a ranking of the shows that I most enjoyed in the future. Or I might do like a spoiler and non-spoiler review for these shows. So I might do that in the future. But anyway, this show is one of the best shows that best mainland Chinese show that I've watched so far, because the set design, first of all, the set design is so beautiful. Like every single still of this show could be a wallpaper. You can tell that the set designers had a blast with designing the scenery. The characters are very fleshed out. They feel like real people. The storyline is great. The music is fantastic. I listened to some of the music on Spotify. It's kind of hard to find anything wrong with the show. I'm really enjoying it. So in terms of my comprehension, I would say I understand maybe like 80% of it, maybe 80 to 85%. The parts of the show, I guess the domains that I have trouble with are the business language. One of the characters has a fireworks company. And like when he talks about, I guess, finances and business and stuff like that, a lot of those words go over my head. And then I guess another domain that I don't really understand a lot in terms of this, or in this show, is the TEA. One of the characters has a cha chang, which I think is, I never looked up the translation for that word. I think it's like a tea field or tea patty. No, patty is rice. But anyway, in terms of tea has a lot of, I guess, specific words that I just don't know. So I don't understand some things there. But in terms of the plot, I understand all of the main points of the plot. I'm not going to spoil anything. I might do a review of this show in the future, but I'm heavily invested in the plot. In fact, there's this plot line. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything until I do a review. There's this plot line that builds up for multiple episodes, like over 10 episodes. And it's stressing me out so much. Like, the tension was building up so much that I had to stop watching it, or choose to stop watching it for a couple of weeks, because I was becoming so anxious, because you knew that this big moment was going to happen. Like, when is she going to find out? I was just wondering what episode it was going to happen on and how she was going to find out. And if you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to spoil it. So yeah, this show has a lot of rich dialogue. Doesn't really have that many idioms, but does have a lot of rich dialogue and a lot of slang. So in the future, what I might do is do this, maybe sentence mine it, not where I do Anki, but where I just go through every single sentence and only look at the things I don't understand, look up the new words, instead of just, oh, actually, it reminds me, I kind of forgot to say that I watched the show only in, well, Mandarin subtitles, but I watched it from start to finish without looking up any new words. So I just start the show, try not to pause it, even if sometimes if there's, like, if a character is showing a text on a screen, like a text message, then I might pause it, but even then I try not to. I just play it, try not to pause it until the very end, and I'm trying to rack up a lot of hours this way, not necessarily focusing on every single idiom or slang word that I miss, but instead focusing on the plot, which I do understand the plot. And yeah, I am enjoying the show a lot, and I'm probably gonna rewatch the show because it's one of my probably one of my favorite shows of all time. So okay, next we have Korean. So I talked about this website in the past. It's called How to Study Korean, and it's actually by a non-native Korean speaker, but that's okay. I'm going through every single lesson. I'm going through a third of lesson every single day. And the way I measure a third is just by looking at where my scroll bar is. Like right there is probably a third. So this is where I'd stop. I haven't made as much progress on this site as you would have thought in 6 months. Again, due to heavy procrastination and just bad time management. But in the future, or I guess right now, since I'm doing a third of a lesson every single day, it's easy to see my progress. And in the future, I want to do comprehensible input. I did comprehensible input at the beginning, but I was just juggling comprehensible input and then this show. It was hard to figure out what I wanted to be my primary source of learning. So I decided that I guess this is going to be my primary source, and then the, I guess, comprehensible YouTube videos would come after that as a supplement, I guess you could say. Then in terms of vocabulary, it's hard to learn vocabulary without Anki. So something that this website, I guess this service offers, is that he goes over vocabulary in terms of a YouTube video. So he'll have like maybe a 10-minute YouTube video. He'll show the Korean word, and then he'll show the English definition under that to test you. So I think going through those will help me with retaining my vocabulary. So yeah, that's everything I wanted to say for this video. I'm very glad I came up with this new genius way of learning, which is just by making a stupid schedule. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to say for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.